has that full carry potential and should be able to take it to limits in that duo lane.
I'm expecting a lot of aggression coming out from Pure. I mean, as we said before, adrenaline is very high, and then up against limits. I mean, in a 1v1, these two are going to box it out heavily.
Yeah, I'm going to expect a lot of spills on that side of the map, whether there's rotations or not, on top of that, to try and punish it. But I think that's got to be the game plan from SkyFire to a degree, is get Pure through the early game, get him up to a point where he can really assert his dominance as much as he can. Limit's obviously a very strong player. He's going to have a tough time against him. But if they can get Pure online, if they can get King Canada online in the mid lane as well, they've got a decent chance. They're all very solid players. Let's see how they go at LAN as the picks and bans come out now. We've got bans here for SkyFire. We've got Cronus and the Morrigan already taken off the board, as well as Ravana for Legacy. Already seeing the kind of LAN meta dictate itself so far. It's hotly contested picks over the Cronus, Morrigan, Ravana. So we'll see where they go from here with their draft, but solid picks so far.
Osiris has got to be next. If it's not, SkyFire will first pick it. In the case that does happen, oh, okay.
Yes.
So if Osiris is picked here, what does Legacy pick up in response?
Sun Wukong, I think, is your best option against an Osiris at this point.
Okay.
Hurling Shen has a little bit of trouble, but SkyFire just takes Sol instead, and Legacy just go, okay, well, we'll take the Osiris then.
And a Kepri.
And a Kepri. Sol, very strong. Didn't see it in the mid lane last game where I would have preferred it to go, but it's already a little bit off. Like, Osiris is open. Why don't you first pick Osiris?
I mean, arguably the strongest god in the entire game at the moment.
He's
wasn't nerfed in the mid-season patch at all. Death Soul wasn't touched. Nothing about him was touched.
No. Well, I mean, Sprint, Heavenly Wings did get a buff so that it cleanses slows again now.
Yeah.
It's a small
tiny
to his team fight ability. It doesn't change anything about his early game potential. Not to mention how much damage he does and just gets out of control ahead. But we see Camazot's now locked in for SkyFire, as well as Chiron, who did get a very handy buff with his clear during those mid-season patches. So excited to see the Centaur here, especially seeing Pure play him. Unmissable damage on his masterful shot.
Yeah. And
that's going to be a big
point. It applies with that training exercise, that AoE. You hit the whole wave, you hit the two, and then your clear it's great. And then you can also hit the enemy players with it. If you hit them with the one, then you've got a free shot with your two for a bit of poke as well. And then the snipes in the hands of Pure should be very strong, very prominent, and I don't see him missing very many.
That's it. Imagine if we can add some land footage to his highlight reels, you know. He's going to be strong.
He's got a selfie stick, guys. He was out here just...
Kids these days.
Kids these days. All right, Toth is the next lock-in here for Legacy with a ban onto Erlang. Response is Nemesis, so nothing too out of the ordinary that we've seen from the league. And now, like, the first match from Dire Wolves. I mean, Nemesis we saw get picked. Didn't have too much of an effect. Erlang in the hands of KO, that was absolutely insane.
Yeah, it seems to be they're now targeting out these solo laners, but maybe trying to bait out the Sun Wukong pick, because they've chosen to ban away Erlang and Bologna. In my opinion, I think Sun Wukong's just in a better place than probably either of those gods, especially against Osiris. Safe clear. You don't have to push up to the wave to clear a Sun Wukong. You just sit back, you throw that magic cudgel, and you're safe. You don't really... You lose some pressure and you lose a bit of experience. But once you get that full clear up with between the Master's Will and the magic cudgel, you're home free, basically. You can just free clear, walk away, not bother with the Osiris, and just say, okay, well, you do your thing, I'll do my thing, and go and rotate to team fights. So. And
if things do get very bad, then you've got the ultimate. You can heal up, you can get away, and you're fine.
I mean, Osiris counters that a little bit if you hit the Lord of the Afterlife, takes the healing away.
It doesn't apply for the whole duration that he's in the sky, though, does it?
It's one or two ticks that it allows, but it still takes away most of that sustain. But Kukulayan, new god, Kukulin, sorry, Kukulin. I say it the way he says it. I actually asked this. I
was getting so triggered by so many people changing the name, not being able to say it properly. But
I have Irish heritage,
parents,
so
Irish parents.
I'll defer to your judgment.
But no, I mean, Colin is great because he's resourceless. He's got no mana. He only works off rage, and then whenever he gets it past 85?
85, yeah. For 3 seconds, I believe it is. Yeah. And then he transforms into his rage form, gets a whole new kit, free ult as well, which is nice. So,
yeah, it's great.
Very strong, but not tested so far in a competitive setting. I'm sure it's been used in scrims a lot.
Yeah.
But is that going to the solo lane and Osiris is going into the jungle, or vice versa?
Interesting. I don't see Osiris going jungle. I mean, it's good, but it's just so much better in that solo lane, right? It's the pressure that he can place onto the enemy solo lane is just so great. Whereas Colin, I don't know.
But the way that Legacy has banned this out, it does make it look like they wanted this Sun Wukong pick. Osiris can't really bully out the Sun Wukong, so is it a matter of baiting out the Sun Wukong to go against the Kukulon? I can't say the name. Kukulon.
Yeah.
And sending him into that lane to deal with the Sun Wukong, and he'll have a better time there, or does Kukulon go into the jungle, able to build up those rage stacks, and then come out as a literal beast
mode,
out of the jungle and affect them? I can see the gank potential there is quite strong compared to an Osiris.
Yeah, and the thing about being in solo lane as a Kukulon is you can't control the rage, right? It's a lot harder to want to turn into that that beast mode to stack it up, whereas in the jungle, normally you're untouched unless they're invading, so it's a lot easier to manage that rage bar.
Yeah, and even you've got that 3 seconds, so you can build it on the buff, fill that rage gauge, and as you're coming into lane, you can transform. As you're just sitting in the jungle path waiting to gank, you transform, and then all of a sudden you've got these extra abilities. Or even you jump over a wall, you transform after you jump, then you've got your dash up immediately as well.
Exactly.
And you've got all your CC kit available too. So I like this draft so far from Legacy. It's high pressure. Got a Medusa to round it out, who brings another great teamfight ult. Not to mention the toss damage is just going to be... We saw how much damage Cheetah was doing last game.
Insane.
It's one-shotting people all day. But SkyFire is still in with a chance, though, I think. You've got a Fafnir, Sol, and Chiron all matched together. Camazotz, we saw how strong that was as well. Sun Wukong's always just Sun Wukong. He's just there to annoy you and provide decent teamfight ability, knock you up, stun you, provide setup. But it's going to be really interesting to see what SkyFire does with their starts as well. And same with Legacy, because the meta's kind of changed. Just with these recent mid-season patches, we've already seen different starts come out. And Direwolves had the better of it last game, a little bit more of a standard start in the second game. But where are these teams going to go? Where are they going to start? And how are they going to deal with that first 3 to 5 minutes, I guess?
Who would you say has the strongest level 1? With Chiron, I think it's quite strong because... Oh, no. His 2 passive that reduces the physical protections by 5%. It's not that strong, but it's only on the 2. So you would want to get the 1 first for the clear.
Well, the 2, you also have to stack up the auto attacks before you can use it. So does it not apply until you use the 2? So that 5% physical protection reduction... It doesn't apply until you hit the 2.
I thought it applied on the basic attack,
Possibly.
and then you hit the 2.
Maybe I've misread that tooltip, but one way or the other.
We should look into that. Someone test that for us.
We'll do some testing off screen.
The level 1 advantage, who would you give it to here?
I give it overall to Legacy. You've got 2 warriors, so Osiris always going to have a strong level 1. Sol's decent at level 1, Toth's not great, but Khepri, that just seals it for me. Khepri's just a better level 1 god than any other support. Clear's just insane.
Alright, so we do have a Kukulon in the solo. As you can see, he doesn't have the Bomber's Mask, so Osiris jungle.
Interesting.
How do you feel about this as...
I love Osiris jungle, personally. I play jungle, and before Osiris was back in the meta again, I used to just, when I just felt like having a fun game, just run Osiris in the jungle. It was the only place he was really viable at the time. Just, be an annoyance. But his gank potential is quite strong. He does require a lead, though, which is going to be the issue there. But Osiris, not really hard to get a lead on, right? Like,
No,
you're not going to get pressured out of jungle buffs because your cooldowns are so low, you have cleave attacks, you've got Death Toll to help sustain. Not to mention, you're up against a Kamazots who has decent clear early, but it's not going to pressure out an Osiris.
Yeah, so already we can see that nothing has really... Okay, Divine, that looked like a misclick. That was his Aegis already down. Pure Might dashing. The dash does not apply the 2.
It does not,
anymore,
but it gives you a power spike
anymore,
now, which is handy, as well as the Fatalis effect briefly. So it does take a fair bit of poke and return the abduct ends.
Oh my word. That
acid spray, almost enough to pick up the kill onto Pure. He will be hurting for a while.
He has got no pots. He's gone for the Cudgel start with a Bluestone. Is that Jotun's first?
The Mace, yeah. I guess. Maybe Titan's Bane? No, it couldn't be Titan's Bane's
first.
Trash early, isn't it?
Because he goes through percentage protections. And
I guess, yeah, Jotun's... he's got his passive that he'll be able to heal up a little bit.
Yeah, but he's got no pots.
It's going to take him a long time to do it. And that is a lot of gold expenditure. You only get... That'd be 1450 gold there, so he'd be running on 1 pot to start the game. So...
Yeah.
Rough that he's taken that early poke. And probably shouldn't have been looking for the fight. He was a bit too aggressive in that sense.
Yeah, look at the trades already. El Chuckles taken down to half by Shank, who is hardly even touched. He's got that Chalice, though. Actually, no, they're even with the Chalice, Health Pot, Multi-Pot. It's pretty much the same. It's just the Death's Toll is better for El Chuckles for health and mana sustain.
Yeah, but then you're trading off the clear from Summer Kong with Bluestone. You need the Bluestone really to clear the wave effectively, so it makes sense there. Summer Kong will have his ultimate up as well to sustain shortly. He just hits 5 there, so shouldn't be in too much trouble. Interestingly enough, we do see Idivine going for the same start as what we saw at Cheetah going, with this tier 2 Book of Toth.
Yeah.
So
Swiftwing next, perhaps.
Swiftwing next, maybe finishes Book of Toth. Might be a personal preference thing, but clearly there seems to be a bit of a new mid-build coming out of
look at
these 2 teams.
Magical Power already is 65.
Yeah, that's
massive in the early game, right?
Yeah, you can't complain with that. I would take 65 power on Toth. He does struggle generally with his early clear. We've got rotation coming here to Elementals.
Yeah, so I'll start him up. But yeah, so it's interesting. 4 minutes in the game, but there wasn't any damage yet. Invade already coming through from Legacy. They're going for that second blue buff. There's Weave already taken down. And Sleepy is able to get the first blood here for SkyFire against Legacy. There's the Heavenly Popped. That's the sprint. Shank still chasing. Toth ultimate coming through. Not going to pick up a kill, but deals massive damage, and it does deter Shank away from chasing. So just 1 kill in this entire fight. There is the blue buff still alive too. Speed buff trying to be stolen by Idivine. Interesting. Yep. So SkyFire already first blood against Legacy. The LAN finals winners of OPL.
What a way to start your LAN experience, right?
Exactly.
Beautiful rotation,
on
though. I really want to point out that was a lot came down to Trill being there with that Fafnir, able to hit that hammer, stun them in place. There was a 4-on-3 at that point. Beautiful map awareness and game awareness, game sense, essentially. Knowing that Legacy want to put this pressure on them early, going, right, they're going to our speed buff, they're going to our blue buff. Let's kill them. Let's not let them get away with it. Some teams would just kind of shy away and be like, oh, like, we can't fight them, we can't fight them. Trill wasn't even level 5 yet at that point. He was level 4 going into that team fight.
Yeah.
But I like this trust in each other that they've got. No, we can fight them, we can punish them for this. They do exactly that. Interesting enough, still a little bit behind in the gold department, just maybe a lack of efficient farming, but great work from SkyFire.
For Pure, Crusher first.
That's an interesting one.
As an ADC.
It is a cheap item, it gives you attack speed, it gives you power. Not to mention it does give you a unique cooldown mechanic as well. Proccing off basic attacks on enemy gods, you will get a reduced cooldown on your abilities. So maybe this is a new Charon build, but not something I've seen out of the Hunter role before.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes, but will stay hesitant that it may or may not work. Gank in the solo lane. 2 versus 1 over there. Pure Might does get dashed on by Limits. There's the slow on towards him. Trill dashing in, gets the disarm, misses the stun. Limits taking a decent amount of damage, not too much at the solo lane. Shank was forced under tower from that gank from Osiris, but that's kind of the thing with Osiris, is his ganks are not surprising unless you use that ult. Otherwise he just walks in.
I mean, you're not going to pick up a Blink on Osiris either. It's not going to really help you out. Blink Tether's not ideal. Blink Sickle's not doing much either. So
you're slowing, you're not stunning.
Yeah, so it's not like a big, hey, I'm here, let's fight. It's like you just kind of walk out and go, all right, well, you want to fight? And then they say no, they walk back under tower. You just got the pressure. It's the, I can't fight this Osiris gank. It's not a, oh my god, Osiris is here and he's killing me. Yeah. It's like, oh, Osiris is here, I have to go back under tower. You guys can go do something, I guess.
You have to respect the pressure from that, right? That's what he's there for. He's there to be intimidating. Ultimate's being traded. Pure Might down extremely low, and Sleepy with the second kill for SkyFire onto Legacy. I bet they're surprising themselves, because they are certainly surprising us.
Yeah, great job so far. Freemason trying to put some pressure onto Shank here. Will manage to Oxform away, but beautiful work so far from SkyFire, really showing that they can put up a good fight here at LAN, and I'm really impressed, especially Sleepy. 2 kills is a substitute for this team.
Exactly,
Doesn't have as much scrim time in practice as I'm sure El Kira would have had over the split, so great to see that he's showing up, playing this Camazotz really well, although he's in a bit of trouble here.
Chuckles turning into the beast form. There is the snipe coming through from Divine. That's the first kill for Legacy. They are continuing the fight, but Freemason using that tether, using that sprint, does get away. He's actually got the horrific emblem, but he didn't use it in all of that fight. They could have continued that fight because they were ahead. They got the pick, and they had the ultimate advantage too.
The only issue being they are in the enemy jungle. They have the potential of Pure Might rotating in behind them, locking them down, and overextending. They make the safe call, get the pick, get out, take that win. Yeah. I think they even got the speed buff out of that as well. Not sure whether they managed to secure that in time, but
yeah, it looked like with the cooldown and with the positioning, they definitely got it.
Yeah, so they managed to grab a speed buff, so a double win for them. The only issue for me right now is that Trill's 2 levels behind. And
yeah, the farming is a bit rough, and that's just down to experience, right? Yeah. I mean, we've playing on the top 2 team for the past year and a bit. It has all that experience, whereas Trilogy just not as experienced, maybe not as. I'm not too sure what the word is that I'm looking for here. King Canada forced to use those beads, does get out of there with the disapparate. He's at half HP and he's low on mana.
Well, this is the beauty of having that soul in mid, right? You're taking a lot of pressure. You're often absorbing pressure in the mid lane. With that 3v3 fight, the mage is generally the target because you've got generally Assassin's mobility, but I like this call from SkyFire. Straight to the Gold Fury. Divine sniffs it out. Weave's here as well, though. They'll leash it for now, but I like the gutsy calls out of SkyFire so far. They're not intimidated by Legacy. They're not intimidated by being at LAN. They're just playing their game and playing aggressively. And I think that's going to help them out because Legacy are going to want to take these games quickly, move on to the next bracket. But SkyFire putting up a good fight and taking the aggression to them is maybe throwing Legacy off a little bit. Still, Legacy do have this gold lead, and that does come from this new map presence, new experiences. They know how to farm. We know SkyFire know how to farm. It's just getting it down to those crossing your T's and dotting your I's, right? Yeah, those little finer points will get you to that next level, and hopefully we can see them kind of work on it moving forward in this game and in the further games in the set. But not a whole lot happening just yet. Brookatoth is finished. No Swiftwing for Idavine, though, straight into Pen Boots.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We've only got 1 Swiftwing in this entire game, whereas we saw 5 in both games of the Direwolves versus... Who was it? I don't remember off the top of my head. Pure Might does get plucked. And he is dashing away, but Limits is able to pick up the kill with the ultimate off the backside. Sleepy's already half HP, but he is trying to get the kill onto Freemason, who does have that Kepri's Blessing, Scarab's Blessing. And he goes back to the rest of his team. He is safe. But Shank, I mean, he's 3 versus 1 at the moment, but he's got no help. Limits picks up King Canada. Both carries are already gone. Trill will be the next to fall. Eventually, he will go down to Freemason. 4 kills now for Legacy. That make me get 5 as Shank falls to Al Chuckles. This will be the Gold Fury for Legacy. If they started off, they have, and now they're just chasing the kill. And Sleepy, the next to fall as well. Al Chuckles with 2 kills now, 0 deaths, 2 assists. Gold Fury for Legacy.
Bit of caster's curse there, talking up SkyFire, and then team fight goes 100% the way of Legacy and the Gold Fury. First Gold Fury of the game, and now that lead is already 5k. All of a sudden, it was 1 to 2k, and now it's 5. So
11 minutes in the game as well, 12 almost.
Let's see how SkyFire respond to this. They had that early lead. They're losing it a bit now. They're back to farming again. Get those items online. Get these comms online again, and make sure that they're not tilted by this. We saw in the Kanga games, as soon as something started going badly wrong for Kanga, the game got out of control.
Yeah, it sure did.
How does SkyFire mitigate that?
So, SkyFire, as you say, playing from behind. We can hear them yelling in the back. I'm sure you can hear it as well. So we'll see how this team fight goes. Obviously, they are initiating underneath this tower, sieging this tier 1 tower. It is already at half HP. So Draconic Form Trilogy already up in there, looking for a stun. He's going to stun up El Chuckles. Damage from King Canada comes through with the ultimate in the backline. There is a bat out of hell. Ultimate popped onto iDivine, and he does go down. Pure Might picking up a kill onto him. There is 2 down already for Legacy. And this is SkyFire fighting back. You say they need to play better from behind, and that's exactly what they're doing. 4 kills to 6.
Perfect response, and straight towards the portal den. Beautiful work there from SkyFire. Legacy overcommit, diving that tier 1, trying to chase down kills, and SkyFire do punish them, do exactly what they needed to do. Get those kills on the board, get themselves back in this game, grab this portal demon, and all of a sudden it's a lot closer again.
Yeah.
And we talked about not tilting, playing your own game, punishing the other team when they misstep.
Yep.
They do exactly that. As soon as Legacy overcommitted, Sleepy and I think it was Shank came out of the jungle and just destroyed the backline while the front line was also getting torn apart. So really good work there from SkyFire.
Yeah, I mean, this is surprising, and I'm so excited here for SkyFire. First LAN appearance, and they're playing this well against Legacy. This is absolutely insane, but you got to think about it. Legacy, with all their experience and the mechanics and their synergy, but they're still losing these team fights. So it's quite strange, obviously, for Legacy to be losing these. And you would think that with all that experience and synergy, that they would be fighting a bit better and they wouldn't be extending that much just for a tier 1 tower.
Does it come down to maybe they don't particularly respect SkyFire, just consider themselves a better team, and maybe that's got into their head a little bit, and they just need to... I think when they won that team fight, when they got that overcommitment out of SkyFire and managed to pick them up in their jungle, it was them playing the game the way they just need to play it. Play to your strengths. Use your mechanics. Use your experience. Use this synergy that you have. Make sure you don't get too cocky and trying to style on a team like SkyFire. SkyFire obviously showing that they're not to be messed with. If you put a foot out of step, they're going to take a mile from you. So really, really exciting game so far. Really keen to see where this goes from here. Yeah,
15 minutes already. The thing about SkyFire is that they're playing very aggressive. Even when they were behind, they fought that fight. But what they shouldn't do is be aggressive all the time. If they take a fight where they're behind, obviously you're more likely to lose it, but if you're playing aggressive, you take the enemy off guard, which is probably what just happened. But Legacy are now like, okay, they're very aggressive, we know exactly what you're going to do. We will prepare for you to fight in every situation, and then we'll be okay if you do actually engage.
Yeah, so the thing is, so the engage comp here is more favored to SkyFire, in my opinion. They have the engage comp, but Legacy kind of took the fight to them. You've got an Osiris, a Kukulon, and a Kepri. Not a great amount of engage. And then you've got a Medusa who can be engage or can be counter-engage to force people out of the aggression being pushed on them. So Legacy just need to kind of relax a little.
Yeah,
they've got the lead. Use that lead. Use it efficiently, and they're already putting pressure here over in the solo lane. Force Shank into his cloud. They'll pick up the tier 1 here and force him away. So an ultimate for free, as well as a tier 1. So this is the kind of thing Legacy need to do. They don't need to take crazy fights and assert their dominance on the map. They just need to keep farming up, get to a point where it's an advantageous team fight, take it, win the game. SkyFire need to make sure that they don't let that happen. They do need, you said they need to measure their aggression.
Yeah.
They need to pick the timing with their aggression, sure. It's just, how do they do that if Legacy don't overcommit? They take the gold, they start up the gold tree and force a fight.
Alright, we'll see how this team fight goes. If they do decide to engage, the ultimate was charging up for the Toth. At the same time, everyone is now on this Gold Fury. It's stolen by Legacy, and Trill forced to back out with that Dragon form. But now it's the re-engage from Sleepy. Freemason has got that Scour's Blessing. He's got the movement speed increase, and he does get out of there. The rest of SkyFire are taken extremely low. Look at all these health bars, but they're disengaging now. Our Chuckles using their ultimate, but he walks away. They're not overcommitting, as you say. I mean, they're just measuring everything down to the millimeter, knowing exactly what to do. Like over there in that tier 1 as well. There were 5 of them there. They took the tower, they went straight back. 5 of SkyFire were rotating over, but Legacy had already backed. So SkyFire got nothing. They wasted their time rotating over, so they weren't able to farm, so they got behind in the Gold Fury to Legacy, and now they've got that, what is that? That is a 7k gold lead. Yeah, nice buffer now for Legacy, and this is where the team fights will start swinging their way. As you said, SkyFire 5-man rotated over to solo lane to make sure they didn't pressure a tier 2, but if they had a 5-man rotated to Gold Fury straight away, rather than going, oh, they all backed, let's go to Gold Fury, they'd have just gone straight there. Free Gold Fury. And they mitigate that tier 1 loss. They actually make a little bit of a profit at this point in the game out of the gold. So just maybe a reactionary thing there, a little bit too much, but Sleepy abducted here in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have his ultimate to get, actually no, he does have his ultimate. He can get out of there. He needs the support from the rest of his team, and he will live on about 20% HP. At the same time, Chiron split pushing in that left lane for that tier 1 tower. The thing is, he needs to get it quickly and get out so that he can help with the rest of the map. Sure, no one's going to come and deal with this, but he can't push a tier 2 tower because the rest of the team will, Legacy will either get Fire Giant or a tier 2 tower. And they do exactly that. They take Portal Demon here for free, unable to get in there into that fight. And already limits his back, and he should be able to defend this tier 2. Although maybe he'll get to do some bit of poke, but no, choosing to back off for now. Yeah, wise decision. He doesn't know where the rest of the team are, and he doesn't have sufficient vision deep in the jungle of Legacy. Looks like they want to engage here in the mid lane against Divine, but the rest of SkyFire now rotating to help him out. This is SkyFire backing off. Yeah, they'll let that one go. Just seeing if they could maybe get a pick there, maybe get a tier 1 as a bonus, but saw the Osiris and the Medusa, I think it was, coming out of the jungle over wards, so not too much going on at this point, just kind of farming up, getting those next items online. Frostbound now online, and Massimmune for Osiris. Massimmune been seen picked up a couple of times so far today. I really like this item. It gives you movement speed, gives you protections, makes you tanky in these team fights. The more people around you, the more protections you get. 7 per stack now, I believe it is. It's just a really good utility item for those get into the team fight, stay in the team fight. Junglers, even I don't even mind it on solo laners at this point though. It's just a good item. It's strong. It is, yeah. And it's not too expensive either. Like 2,800? 2,300, I think. 23. Wow, that's so much cheaper than I thought it was. It's quite cheap. Yeah, it's 100 gold more than Heartseeker. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cheap for 50 power, health, and movement speed, as you said, and then protections on the passive while you're fighting. Tier 2 tower under siege here from Legacy. SkyFire looking to defend. They should not initiate here. It's an 8k gold deficit, and Limits has just rotated in, so it's a 5v5. We'll see who initiates first. The Osiris ultimate is up, so he can jump in if he wants to. That is the main initiation for Legacy, unless they want Owl Chuckles to jump in there with that ult, or even Weave going for an abduct. Here is the fight starting up. Draconic form for Trill, buffs with the attack speed. The rest of his team. There's the abduct, damage coming out, and it's just trades back and forth. No one's dead yet, but the first kill goes to Sleepy. Weave is down, that is the support. No utility left, and he died with his ultimate up as well. That's very important, but 3 kills now, double kill for iDivine, and Shank does get one in return. Freemason with the double kill, and that's almost, that is an unofficial deicide for Legacy.
Yeah, 4-2. Sorry, 5. It was 5 kills in the end, wasn't it? Go to the side of Legacy, and iDivine, through the final judgment early in that fight, didn't manage to pick anyone off, but then was just left alone. Sleepy dove Weave, who yes had his ultimate up, and died with it, but if I'm Kepri and I've got ult and I'm not using it on a teammate, I don't feel like I'm using my ult correctly, so I don't mind him dying with that. He is the only person now with an ultimate up for the next team fight at this stage. You've got iDivine's coming back up off cooldown shortly, but it's one thing to get a kill, but who you are target prioritizing in these team fights is the biggest thing for SkyFire. They did it really well in the early game, where they got those picks onto the back line, managed to take these kills. If we have a quick look at the graph now, it's 10k experience, 10k gold, and SkyFire now find themselves in a really big pit. And if Sleepy goes on to iDivine, whose evade and punish was still up, granted, but he was sitting at the tower line. We've died almost at where tier 1 would be, so he's dove that far to kill the support with his ultimate, and he gets caught out there. So tunnel vision is such a big thing in Smite.
It's massive, it's huge. So the support at that tier 1 tower, if they got that pick closer, then that's great, because they can hide behind the tier 2 tower, and that damage from the tower will help them take down the rest of the team. But as you say, it's the support, and then he gets killed, because he used everything to get in there, so there was no way for him to come back out. And the damage was still up for Legacy. But SkyFire, even with the snipes through from Pure Might hitting everyone, and he had the DPS coming through, he wasn't able to deal enough damage to get anyone else.
Something I'm surprised by here is the bracer on doing on Camisots versus maybe a blink. Having something to get to that backline. If he had a blink there to get past the front line or past what was in his way to get to Weave, he then can ult away. Get himself out again. Not to mention the upgrade on Blink now gives you, I think it's 10% damage mitigation after you use the Blink.
So you always use that to initiate.
You can, you're using it to initiate. You're taking less damage, you're able to deal out your own damage in return, and then you've got your ultimate to escape. So I'm really surprised that so far we haven't seen any Blinks from anyone. So maybe that that relic just isn't in the meta for the time being, but teamfight breaking out here.
Shank already in the sky. Draconic form again for Trilogy. They want to fight this, but look at Legacy. They're just waiting for the SkyFire to use their abilities, put them on cooldown, and then they'll win the fight. Shank is abducted, and he's taking so much damage. He's Sun Wukong, and he can survive through a bit of it, but he doesn't have the ult anymore. iDivine picks up a kill, and so does Freemason. Shank and Pure Might have already fallen. King Canada is the next to fall to El Chuckle, so it's 3 already. One more will be a Trilogy. 4 down for SkyFire. iDivine taken so low, but he's got the Scourer's Blessing, and he will live. Deicide for Legacy. They're taking the Portal Demon. They'll teleport back, and they'll go for the Fire Chant, and then the end.
5-0. They could have probably just even pushed down the...
Not even gone back.
They don't even need to back, to be honest. There's already fire minions pouring into the Titan pit now, so they honestly could have just walked in and ended. They didn't even need the Portal Demon.
They could have just walked down the end. And
such long respawn timers on SkyFire. That was 35 seconds or so for everyone involved. So playing it safe, sure. Getting some more towers down, make that Titan a little less tanky, but they're now at a point where they're 15,000 gold ahead, and I can't see SkyFire coming back from this unless there's a monumental throw from Legacy.
I mean, it's been known to happen, very rare, maybe 1 in a million matches, but I mean, this is Legacy just showing that the early game was their warm-up, and they underestimated SkyFire by a long shot. but then they just adjust mid-game. They can adapt mid-game, change their strategy, and change what they need to do against the opponents of SkyFire, and that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing the fruits of their experience and their strategies.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was just a little bit of adrenaline running through Legacy as well. First game at LAN, just get yourself a bit pumped, overcommit a little bit, kind of... Whoever their in-game leader is has kind of just gone, calm down guys, this is what we need to do. Yeah. Seeing this team fight, SkyFire doing a good job trying to defend this Phoenix. Yeah,
but they're fighting against a Fire Giant buffed Legacy, and already 3 kills, double kill, full limits. This is Legacy closing out the game. Shank will be the last to fall. Unstoppable is Freemason. He's 7-0-8, and that will be the game. GG, well played to Legacy. SkyFire can't be upset though. They played well in the early game. And they definitely should not tilt from that. That's what they did was great. They just need to be able to carry it through to the mid and late game. Yeah, definitely encouraging signs from SkyFire. Good work from Legacy to close out that game and not let SkyFire back into it. They almost got back into it with that team fight under Tier 1, where they got, I think, 4 kills for nothing. But Legacy managed to close it out, use that experience, use that calm and collection that they need, ride the adrenaline the right way, and I really do want to see SkyFire come back out, farm a little bit more efficiently, but not go back into the shells and say, okay, well, you can have our jungle, that kind of thing. Keep doing what they're doing. Punish Legacy when they put a step out of place, and not let them get away with anything. So what do you think about the picks? With the Kukulkan in the solo lane and then Osiris in the jungle, there wasn't too much initiation, but what Legacy did was they waited for SkyFire to initiate every time. It was just the... wait for the enemy to fight us, and then we'll just win. Yeah, it's just a solid counter-engage comp. You've got a Khepri to peel, you've got the Medusa ultimate as well, the Stone Gaze, to prevent any further aggression or to really disrupt what's happening in the enemy's comms as well. I'm stunned for 2 seconds, you know. Yeah. So you're stuck not being able to deal damage, and then you've got an Osiris and a Kukulkan. You got it. I'll get there. You got it. Just wailing on you at the same time. Yeah. So, interesting picks coming out of Legacy. We'll see how SkyFire respond to them and whether Legacy now go with a more conventional assassin in the jungle or whether they just keep running this double warrior meta and try and walk over, just keep pressing W at people. Yeah. It worked too. The thing that didn't work was that they weren't expecting the aggression from SkyFire. You could see that the back lane and the mid lane, when it got destroyed by Shank and Sleepy, was that they were positioned so far up and they didn't have vision of the sides. So they didn't know that they were there. They didn't know that they would go that aggressive. But then they just changed. They were like, okay, they're doing this, we'll do this instead. Yeah, good response. It was back and forth in that first 10 minutes where SkyFire said, okay, Legacy said, okay, we're going to take your jungle. And SkyFire haven't none of that. They take a decent double kill there, get themselves back into a decent spot and protect their own jungle. They then get a little bit overconfident, go for Gold Fury, get picked on the way out. Yeah. And then Legacy do the same thing under Tier 1. So those early throws of the game were kind of like maybe the teams just feeling each other out, getting a feel for the playstyles of each other. SkyFire come out on the raw end of that in the end, with the end result, but Legacy still need to watch their step, and I think that's a good sign from SkyFire that they're managing to put a team like Legacy into a point where they have to play the game properly and really think about what they're doing. Yeah, and act like they need to put as much effort in as if they were against Direwolves, right? Like, sure, they probably prepared more for Direwolves than they did for SkyFire. It's like, okay, this newer team, never been at LAN. We don't need to prepare as much. We don't need to put as much effort in. But then SkyFire were like, hey, no, we are good. And that's exactly what they proved to everyone here already. Yeah, they've done a really good job so far, and hopefully they can push it through to this game too. But where do you see them going with picks and bans now for SkyFire? We talked about Legacy's picks and ban phase, but SkyFire had a solid draft. I think they'll get rid of the Chiron because it didn't seem to be that effective, especially with the Crusher first. It was a bit strange. It didn't really shine. It didn't really do anything. It just sort of existed, and the damage was good, but it wasn't spectacular. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is what I'm building on Chiron every time I play Chiron. So exactly. Yeah. Do they
run back the Chiron and go with a different build structure for Pure, or do they get a bigger team fight like a Huyi, or a late game carry like Rama? We've already seen that played a couple of times today.
And it's good for Pure. Pure on Huyi, on Ram, those are his guys. That's what he's known for. So why pick the Chiron and then why build the strange item for it? Sure, he got a buff. Sure, he's stronger, but that doesn't mean that the other two picks are weak.
No, especially on LAN. You've got Huyi Ricochets on LAN. You've got Rama Snipes on LAN.
Yeah.
This is the time when you want to play those gods, right?
Yeah.
It can be frustrating sometimes online. You got a little bit of ping difference and you throw out the ultimate, like, oh yeah, that's hitting, and then it just kind of it misses just due to latency. Here you've got instant response. Pretty much. You've got no excuse for missing those, right?
Yeah. None at all. So, I mean, sure, we might be able to see him, but maybe SkyFire are thinking, okay, the Chiron wasn't the problem. Maybe it was mid. I mean, Sol, King Canada did well, but again, nothing too spectacular. Sure, his positioning was great, and he was able to follow up well when Sleepy was engaging. So whenever that aggression came out, he was able to follow up properly.
Did they overcommit with the Fafnir, maybe going with the Sol Chiron, being like, oh, we need Fafnir as our support? There was a Terra open. I know Trill likes to play Terra. Ganesh was banned away, one of Trill's preferred gods, but where do they go? I think maybe it's the support pick more than anything. Sol doesn't need Fafnir to be good. Sol is just a good mid. Regardless, we've discussed multiple times why high burst damage, high AoE, and you can pick up a Shogun's Kasari on anyone or any of the tanky. You can even grab it on the jungle if you want magical defense. So you don't need the Fafnir Coerce to augment that.
You should be building attack speed on Chiron, right? So with your Ikuval, maybe with your Executioner. So you don't need the attack speed buff from Fafnir. While it's good, it's not necessary. It was just strange seeing that Crusher. Maybe it was because of the pick that he built Crusher, they would have the damage, more flat damage, and then he'll be able to chase him down with the 3, and then the attack speed came from the Fafnir. But we didn't see that combo at all.
No, the issue for me was Fafnir was just getting blown up. It was a couple levels behind early and never really caught that up moving forward. And now that you don't have those aura items that give you cheap protections, maybe they just need something a bit more, less engagey, more peely, I guess, putting it as simply as possible.
Yeah, because they put everything in the offense and very little defense.
Yeah, so maybe a Terra.
It
probably steer away from. We see what can happen to a Geb in a high pressure early game, which Legacy look like that's what they want to do with their comp so far. So maybe steer away from the Geb, but you've got Terra, you've got a few other options where you don't necessarily have to be these hard engage dealing damage, because that's what Fafnir does, right? Like he's the support that just CCs you and then deals a million damage to you while